Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. So I just finished watching the last two episodes of Adventure Time Fiona and Cake, which serve as a finale to the first season of the show, or what looks to be the series as a whole, and we'll get into that a little bit later as to whether or not this show will get a second season. But in this video, I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the series as a whole, the finale, and everything in between. As per usual with these videos, there will be spoilers at a certain point, but first we'll talk about the show spoiler free. If you guys watched my first impressions video on Adventure Time Fiona and Cake, you will know I was really high on the first two episodes of the series. I thought that they were phenomenal. I thought that these episodes were just a breath of fresh air for the Adventure Time world, coming off of Distant Lands, which was something that I really did enjoy. I was pleasantly surprised to see what we got in the first two episodes of Fiona and Cake, and was hoping that this series would keep its pace and keep me involved and engaged and enjoying the series. And honestly, the entirety of the show was just a pleasant surprise. I really truly enjoyed everything I saw, and it's gotten me, wanting more from the Adventure Time world, wanting to see more like this, which is kind of just a testament to how good of a job the people who worked on this series did, because this is coming from a person who wanted to stop seeing Adventure Time content. I thought Cartoon Network was just milking it, and now it looks like they have something pretty special going forward if they handle it well, if they play their cards right. But now let's get into the spoiler section of this review, so spoilers ahead, you have been warned. So throughout the first season of Adventure Time Fiona and Cake, we started out with this show showing that Fiona and Cake live in a world without magic, and it's kind of just dealing with everyday life, dealing with a lot of the themes that a lot of people deal with as they grow up, adjusting to the real world, adjusting to what work life is like, seeing your friends less, these things that we went over in the first and second episode, Simon having his existential crisis, like, what do I do now that Betty's not here? It's, he's dealing with loss, which is a real thing that people deal with in real life. So it was very grounded in reality. And one of my concerns with the show was it's going to get more magical, more mystical going forward. And I'm hoping that it doesn't lose that sense of realism that they established within the first two episodes. And I think that they handled it really well, honestly. We saw throughout the series that they were jumping between different dimensions, different universes, where we saw the farm world Finn again. We saw a world with the Ice Prince where things were kind of reversed. The Princess Bubblegum of that world was like the crazy queen or crazy king like the Ice King is in the land of Ooh. We saw a role reversal there. We saw another world where the Lich succeeded, and a lot of these worlds were created by Prismo granting wishes to other people. Like, for example, the Lich one in particular, that was a wish that the Lich wished for in season 4, I believe, where he saw Prismo and he's like, I want to destroy everything, and he got his wish. But now it's like, okay, you got what you wanted, there's nothing left for you to attain anymore, you got the one thing you were looking for, what do you do with your life now? Again, these kind of crises that I feel like people have in real life. This show was very grounded in reality despite being an Adventure Time series, which obviously is filled with magic, and we're traveling between dimensions. This isn't something that happens in the real world. You can't travel to another universe, yet the show was so grounded in reality, which was really pleasant to see, and I thought they did a great job with this. We even had the world with Princess Bubblegum fighting Marceline where Simon died. He didn't exist, and instead she grew up being the vampire princess to the vampire king, and we see how that dynamic shifted and changed for her. We saw the baby world with baby Finn and baby Jake, just a lot of different unique worlds. And the one thing I think they did a great job with is they're just traveling, it's like a fetch quest, right? They're trying to get the crown. They're traveling from dimension to dimension to dimension, trying to find the crown, and that can become monotonous after a while. It can become more of the same and boring, but they kept it fresh every single dimension. They did a great job in that regard. Now, as to the finale as a whole, obviously we see that Simon and the Lich get to Betty Gold. They're gonna see her finally, and she actually kills the Lich, which was interesting. It's like the Lich is like, oh, I did everything for you, I did all this for you, and Betty Gold is not the regular Gold. Betty clearly has control over what she's doing as she kills the Lich, because she knows that he is essentially the embodiment of evil in the Adventure Time world. And then when Simon is about to put the crown back on, she puts him into Shermie and Beth's world from the finale of Adventure Time, which I was like, whoa, this is pretty neat, pretty cool to see. And basically Simon, in the form of Shermie, he reads a book about the crown in that world, about them getting the crown, and this serves as a big lesson for him, a big learning point for him going forward, that he always did things his way instead of thinking of what Betty potentially wanted. We saw a flashback flashback of when they first met, and he stopped her from going on her own adventure because he wanted her to be with him and do what he wanted to find the Enchiridion, instead of thinking, oh, I could put that to the side for now and I could do what you want to do. He's always selfishly thinking of what he wants to do. And this whole, play by Betty or Gold Betty, putting him into Shermie's body, is just a learning moment for him, a really change of his personality for the better, to make him realize that she sacrificed herself so many times for me. It's time that I actually live up to my potential. It's time that I actually live up to who I am. And that's kind of the big story for Simon in this whole series. And as for Fiona and Cake, this finale shows them going back to their world without magic. They've been trying to get magic back into their world for the entirety of the show. And we see that the scarab comes to the world and he's starting to destroy it. He's starting to destroy the world that they know and love. And it kind of makes Fiona realize that, hey, I don't want my life to change. I don't want to see this world go away. I love it the way it is. I don't want it to be a world with magic. I want it to remain the same. She realizes that if this world changes to become a magical world like they've seen, in the land of Ooh and all these other universes, everything's going to be very different from how it is now, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Be happy with what you have. Look for the best in things, not how it could be better. That's the message that this show is trying to portray. And again, I've said this so many times regarding this series, but it is so grounded in reality with the themes and morals that it's trying to portray throughout the show, and I just love that. I love seeing that in this mystical and magical story. As for how everything wraps up, Fiona and Cake's world finally becomes a canon reality, because we learned prior in the series that it was something that Prismo made off the radar, off the grid, because he wasn't supposed to, so it's not canon. But through a gift from Simon, Fiona is now able to make her world canon, make it a legit world. And now the scarab can no longer destroy it because he's going against the rules now. He can't destroy this world because it is legit. It is not off the record. It is not an illegal universe. So the scarab obviously doesn't take kindly to this. He's upset, so he starts wrecking the world himself. And Prismo breaks out of his prison that he's been in throughout this series, and he basically takes characters from each of the universes that Fiona and Cake had traveled to and essentially puts them into Fiona's world to help defeat the scarab. Long story short, they defeat the scarab and they start rebuilding their world. And one thing that I thought was kind of strange is these characters who traveled the multiverse to get to Fiona's world, they all remain there, which I'm like, isn't that something that's not allowed to happen? Like, aren't the powers that be the scarab's boss? Aren't they not going to be happy with this? But for now, that's not an issue in this show. For now, it's a happy ending. And we see at the end of the series as well that Simon finally, he has his purpose in life. He's going to therapy. He's trying to become a better person. Fiona and Cake's world is obviously being rebuilt. They're happy with the way their world is, with a world without magic, although there are now some magical creatures within that world due to the whole time, or rather multiversal travel. And lastly, we see that Prismo is now, he now has a handyman. He has the scarab as his little handyman, and he's shown him the ropes, and I guess that's his punishment for all of the crimes that he committed throughout this series. Now for the question that I alluded to at the beginning of this video. Will there be a second season of this show, or is this just a one season, one and done type thing, and this is the entire series? And in my opinion, I hope that we don't get more, because I feel like this was ended perfectly. They ended this series perfectly. It has a nice bow on it. Things are perfect. I don't think we need a second season. I think this was all wrapped up to a T, and we should just leave it there. However, I do think that we need to see more Adventure Time content, and I do think we will get more Adventure Time content. And if they handle it well, I think it can be great. And we'll get into all that in another video as to where Adventure Time can go forward from here. But like I said, I think that we should not get more Fiona and Cake, and if I had a bet on it, I'm going to bet that this is it. This is a one and done season. This is it for this show, and we're going to see more Adventure Time spin-offs come from this, because like I said before, this was really a pleasant surprise, and it really changed my feeling on Adventure Time as a whole right now. Because if you guys have been watching this channel, as I said before, you know that I've been saying for a while, let Adventure Time rest. It's enough of this series for now, enough of this franchise. Let's take a break from it. And now I couldn't further disagree with my past self saying that, because I want to see more from this universe. I want to see more from this world. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below below what you guys think about all of this. Did you guys love Fiona and Cake? Did you hate it? Do you want to see more from Adventure Time, or do you want them to hit the brakes on Adventure Time as a franchise for now and focus on doing other things with other franchises? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from DC Network. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.